200 years ago, on the island of Bermuda, a baby girl took her first breath. Her name was Mary Prince. She wasn't born free, she was born into chains. Before she could even speak, the world had already decided who she was supposed to be. Not a daughter, not a dreamer, but someone's property. Yet, even in that small wooden hut by the sea, destiny was already whispering her name. Mary's childhood ended before it began. At 12 years old, she was sold away from her mother, torn apart by the sound of silver coins. Her mother's cry echoed through the plantation yard, but no one cared. To them, love didn't matter, tears didn't matter, profit did. And so began the journey of a girl who would walk through pain, yet never let her spirit die. Day after day, Mary labored under the sun and the whip. She washed clothes until her hands bled. She was beaten for mistakes she didn't make. But behind the pain, her eyes still carried something her masters could never destroy: hope. Every strike only made her heart stronger. Every tear taught her how to survive. They sold her again and again, each time to a new master. Each time, her body weakened, but her will did not. On the salt fields of Turk's Island, she carried heavy buckets until her skin burned. The salt stung her wounds, but she kept going. Because deep inside, Mary whispered a prayer. Then in the quiet of a small church in Antigua, Mary found something she had never known: faith. There, surrounded by others who suffered like her, she sang songs of hope. For the first time, she heard the word freedom spoken aloud. And she began to believe that maybe, just maybe, it could be hers too. In 1828, her owners took her to England. The voyage across the Atlantic was long, cold, and uncertain. But when she stepped onto British soil, something changed. England was a land where slavery was already illegal. For the first time, Mary felt the air of a place where chains were not meant to exist. But freedom would not come easily. Her masters still claimed to own her, even there. One stormy night, Mary made a choice that would change everything. She walked away. No money, no friends, no home, just courage. Through the cold streets of London, she followed a single light: the lantern of the Anti-Slavery Society. And in that moment, she stepped out of fear and into freedom. Her story reached the ears of abolitionists, men and women who fought to end slavery. They listened, they believed, and they helped her tell the world what she had endured. In 1831, her story was published as The History of Mary Prince, a West Indian Slave. It became the first book ever written by a black woman in Britain. Her words traveled farther than she ever could. They carried pain, truth, and power, the kind that could break empires. But truth is dangerous. Slave owners called her a liar. They tried to silence her. Still, Mary stood before crowds and said, "I have been a slave myself. I know what slaves feel." Her voice shook walls that had stood for centuries, and the world began to listen. In 1833, just 2 years after her story was published, the Slavery Abolition Act became law. Across the British Empire, chains fell. Families embraced. Lives began again. Mary didn't just win her freedom. She helped free millions. She proved that one woman's voice could shake an empire to its core.